Hello everybody and welcome. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Julie Brown. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm really happy to have you here tonight. So just a couple of things. If you're new to, if you're watching me on Facebook or YouTube, you can type in the comments, let me know you're here. Also, if you have any questions on anything that I'm doing tonight, you can also type those in the comments. I do try to look up periodically to see what questions might be coming through. So I'm going to take care of some housekeeping and then we will get started with tonight's video. So first off, for those of you that will be placing orders with me this month, there is the February hostess code along with where to order at juliebrown.stampinup.net. There's my email, my Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram. The only one that's a little bit different is my YouTube channel. You do have to type in juliebrown.julie's creative stamping. Now, some of you are watching on YouTube, some of you are watching on Facebook, so you already know those sites. So again, welcome. Alrighty, so I do apologize. I've missed a couple of weeks. I have been busy. I have a daughter that has decided after getting married and having kids that she's going to become a dentist. And so she got accepted in dental school, and so she's going to be living with us. They're selling their house, going to be living with us for a little bit before they take off to dental school. So the last 2 weeks I have been getting everything ready at my home for that to happen. So I do apologize for missing the last couple of weeks, but just to let you know, I am back. And so we are going to be back up every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So I hope you guys can all join me. Now, I'm going to be working with the Hooray for Surprises Bundle. And I'm not specifically going to be showing you cards. At the end, I will show you a bunch of cards I made with this. But I just I really felt like I needed to show you the tips and tricks to using this, because this is a completely new type of die that most of us are not used to working with. So I kind of wanted to show you the ins and outs of this particular bundle and how fun. I have had so much fun with this bundle. So again, it is called Hooray for Surprises. It's a bundle. It has a stamp set, and let's look at it. It comes with this really cool stamp set, and then these dies. Now these dies are the unique thing in this new bundle. But it's got some really fun sentiments, some really fun images in this set. So what I'm going to be really focusing on tonight is using these dies and my tips and tricks for using these. So what these do is these actually, I'm going to bring in one of the cards that I've made. And so what they do is when you make them, they actually have this, and I don't know if you can see where I stamped the pool right there, but they have this little piece here, and let me use mine got kind of pushed in because I had them kind of piled over here. So let me see if I can finagle this without making it come loose. So it has this little tab, and what happens is when someone gets this card, they are going to actually take that tab and they're going to pull this whole section off to show what's underneath. And so when you're designing these cards, it's really hard for me like to design it and then show you, oh, this is what it looks like when you pull it off. Because once you pull this off, you can't put it back. I mean, you could if you taped it in place. So you want to keep that in mind when you're designing these cards, and you want to think about what you're going to be putting behind this, because you want it to look just as cute as the original card front looks right now. And then of course the inside you can just create however you want. All right, so let me show you my method. So what I do is I create a template with copy paper. And you'll understand what I'm talking about in just a second. So what I do, so for instance, if my designer series paper on the front of my card is going to be 4 by 5 1/4, then I am going to cut my copy paper at 4 by 5 1/4 to match it exactly. And the reason that you want to do this is, I'll show you. Oh, let me get some designer series paper. I had some scrap designer series paper. So I'm not actually going to be designing cards. I'm just going to be showing you the tips and tricks to using these dies. So my designer series paper is going to be cut exactly the same size. Now you could do this with cardstock. You could do this with vellum, like this piece here. You could make this out of cardstock. You could make this out of vellum. But I think cardstock might be a little too thick, so I would either use copy paper, vellum. I just didn't want to waste my vellum to be doing this, so I thought I would use copy paper. So then what you're going to do is when you cut the dies, you are going to place this on top of your designer series paper, and then we're going to pull the die. So I'm going to show you all of the dies that are in this set that actually, so this die here cuts a pull tab. The smaller one is a pull tab. This heart, so it's all the ones with these little like notches right here. And then this one right here is also a pull tab that has something hidden underneath. Everything else that comes in here are dies to help you decorate the front of your card or underneath the pull tab. So let's look at how to do this. And I'm just going to show you, I'm going to show you with this one, and then I'm going to show you like some of the other templates that I've made so that you get the hang of this. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to bring in my die cut machine. But before I do that, I'm actually going to kind of set it up on my plate first, and then I'll bring in the die cut machine. So you want to make sure that this is fitting like almost exactly. Now I am going to bring in some pieces of like Post-it note tape and just kind of stick these in place. Alrighty. Now, depending on where you want, so like I showed you this card, and so my heart was down here. So depending on where you want the pull tab to be, so if you wanted it up here, you would, you know, place your cutting tool like right there. I'm going to do it this way, and I want my cutting piece to be down here. Now the deal is I kind of want it down a little bit lower, so I had to kind of move that piece. So again, I have my designer series paper on the bottom, then a piece of copy paper, then here is my die. All right, and then I'm going to bring in the other number 3 plate. And I'm going to pick this up, and we're going to bring in the die cut machine, and we are going to run this through the die cut machine and cut it. Hey, Patty. So glad you joined. Okay. So now, when you pull this apart, you want to be really careful because you do not want to pull out this piece from the designer series paper. So I'm going to go ahead and lift my copy paper that I cut to the exact same size as my designer series paper. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but this piece is completely in place. And we don't want to move that. We want to be very careful with that. So now I'm going to pull out this piece from my copy paper because this is now my template. And what I'm talking about on a template is now I can come in and I can bring in a piece of white cardstock. Now it doesn't have to be the same size as your designer series paper. You could just do a small section basically that would fit right behind here. So if you want to save paper, you could pretty much just cut this in half and just use this bottom section. But I'm just going to use the whole thing. But again, you don't have to. You can cut a section, you know, maybe a 3x3 piece that would fit behind that. I like the fact that it's all the same length. And if you're going to build something in here that's going to be raised a little bit, then you do want to use the exact same size here, because when you put this piece on, you're going to be putting it on dimensionals, if that makes sense. It'll make more sense in just a second. So now I have this piece here. And what this is going to allow me to do by making this template, and again, I'm just going to kind of tape these down in place, is it's going to allow me to design what I want on the inside here. So, and I'm just going to, you know, just do some crazy things here because I really didn't have a plan. But let's just go ahead and use the flower from this set. Oh, I've got a bunch of little tiny pieces moving around. All right, so we're just going to bring this in, and then I'm just going to bring in like maybe Highland Heather ink. Oh, actually, this is Night of Navy or Misty Moonlight. So let's go ahead and do a Misty Moonlight, or maybe like a Blackberry Bliss. This is what happens when I don't have the design done ahead of time. I get to just play. So I'm going to bring in Blackberry Bliss, and I am going to ink this up. Make sure I get a lot of ink on it. And then I'm just going to basically stamp this right into the middle of that open space. Okay, so now I have my flower like so. Now you could add more stuff. You could add some leaves. You could, and you can even make them go up and above. So like if I had some die cut leaves, I could stick them so that they actually go up, because it's okay if they're hiding behind that. But if you just wanted to like add them in there to make it look a little funner, or just to add some different pizzazz to it, that could be really cute. And I was trying to see if I had any fun. I don't think I have any. I usually have like extra leaves and stuff sitting around, and I think I've cleaned everything up, unfortunately. So now when I remove this piece, I have this here. Now I'm going to work on this later, so I'm not going to put this together, because tonight my whole point here is to teach you guys how to make your templates so that when you put your top piece on, it is going, and you open the pull tab, this will fit exactly. So because I cut because I cut this piece and this piece together, now when I add this on here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this open because I'm not making a card out of this, but I want to be able to show you. So if I were to adhere this together, then, and of course I would do more designs on the front of my card, but then I would just take this, and when it pulls out, voila, your little piece that's hidden is in there. So I hope that makes sense to you guys on why you want to make the templates, and understand that once you pull this off, it's not going back. So whatever you design here is what you need to keep this in mind when you're putting a design on the front of the card as well. So let me just show you some ideas that I came up with to use this set. Oh, and one other thing. So I hope that helped with the template. Now, what I have done is in my stamp set, I have taken some Stampin' Seal, and I cut a little piece of cardstock here, and I have all of the templates that I have made so far in here. So I'm just keeping them inside the case. So you'll see like this one is kind of almost that exact one, but then I have one where I had the circle a little higher, and I had the heart. This was the one I used to make the card that I showed you. And then I also have a template for this little pull tab that goes like, it's kind of like, I call that the zipper one. So now I can keep all my templates right here. And even though I've already cut those, I can still lay those on. I could actually lay these templates on here and then put my die. So like it would be open. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So basically now, if I'm going to use this as a template, even though it's already cut that out, I could still lay this on top. Let me just grab another piece. I could lay this on top like that, and then I could lay my die right in this section and run it through like that, and it's still going to work. It's just not going to cut the, because this is already missing, I won't have that piece, which I don't use that piece anyway. But now that I've got my templates, I'm able to cut and place those. Now, if I wanted this placed somewhere else, I would have to make another template for that. The biggest thing that you have to remember is that whatever the piece that cuts here, you're not going to remove. You're not going to take it out. So that's probably one of the challenges of this these dies is that I call it kind of a blind design, in a sense, because like I said, like I did earlier, you use the template, but when you design your card, all of this stays together and you're designing everything on top, and you don't ever get to see what it looks like when it opens, because that's for the person who you're giving the card to. But I just wanted to show you that just so you would get an idea of what's behind the scenes. So let me just show you. And again, tonight was just going to be a real quick one because I want to take the time to explain how I did each of these cards. I don't know if I clean this. Let me make sure I clean this stamp set. Just to kind of give you an idea. And I also used a bunch of different sets. So that's another big plus. So of course this one was made with everything. Now I am going to show you with the dies. So behind this one, actually what I did with this one was I cut it all out, and then I actually took this piece here and I cut out a piece of white so that I could then stamp this on top of that, because otherwise my tab pull would have been this designer series paper. Does that make sense? Like this was my tab pull. And so I wanted to do a white, and then I stamped it, and then I glued it directly onto, like if it would be like me gluing it onto this. But behind this, I'm just going to kind of show you what I designed. I cut out a white heart like this, and then I took these dies. I can't show it to you because it'll ruin the card. But then I took these cards and I built a really fun, so I put the leaf on there, and then I put the flower on there. So you can see that this was starting to get layered. So if you can see, I actually popped it up. Maybe you can't see, with dimensionals. So this got popped up. Now you'll notice too that this is not the exact like 5.5 by 4.25. It is smaller. So one of the other things that I did is when I laid this onto my card base, I used my template first. Let me find what I did with my template. Hopefully I'm not confusing everybody. I laid my template down first, and excuses for being dirty, I dropped it and then rolled over it. So there was my template. And then what I did was I just, with a pencil, I drew this corner in so that I knew where to put this placement based on what I built behind here. So there's a lot of little tips and tricks that you can use to help you when you're designing. All right. So basically I built this up. So I needed to pop this up. And then what I did was I made my design on the front, and I just kind of I know this is kind of weird because I did this design with the thought that once this pull tab comes out, this is what's going to be underneath. And so when you're designing the front of your cards, you also need to be thinking about what's going to open up on the inside. So I'm going to go back to this quite a few times. So for instance, if I know this flower is going to be on the front, then I might be bringing in some other Blackberry Bliss or Mossy Meadow leaves and stuff. So like, for instance, I might want to like decorate with, you know, some leaves that actually, you know, come off. And what I was trying to tell you earlier is if I had cut this, let me use this one because it's thinner. If I had cut some leaves in like Mossy Meadow, I could have still put them on here. And they don't show all the way, but part of them show. So again, this is a really, it sounds a little complicated, but it's a real, once you get going, it's such a fun set to play with. All right, so this is one of the cards that I made, was this one here. And then the next card that I made with this set was I wanted to do kind of some simple stamping on the top. And then again, I used this template here. I made this template. You can see how it fits right over the top of that. So that before I put this piece down, I laid this template down, And the sentiment that's hidden behind here, I went ahead and stamped. Then when I covered it, I know that when they pull this, that sentiment's gonna be lined up exactly. But this is kind of a Make-A-Wish. And they'll pull this, and you can see I stamped the pull right there. And then there's the inside of that one. Okay, so there's that. And then here's another one. Now this one I brought in that translucent floral, or anyway, it's the online paper. Now this one, look what I did. So this one is a kind of a reveal. So it's kind of the opposite. So what I did was I took this piece, and you'll see that it's not, so let me explain this one. So it is shorter. So when I ran this through my die cut machine, I already knew that I was going to roll it up and make it kind of a reveal. But when I ran it through my die cut machine, I had to be really careful to only run it through to this point, so that because if you cut it all the way, then it basically comes unattached, if that makes sense. So when I went through my die cut machine, I like ran it through, and I stopped here and then ran it back through. And then what I did was I took like a pin, and you know how like with ribbon, you just kind of, I don't know if I have a piece of paper I can show you. Yeah, I'll use, this is just the copy paper, but basically, even though it was attached, I just took it, and then I just kind of did this with it so that it would kind of curl up. And then I took this first little section, and I used a mini glue dot, and I folded it onto the glue dot, and then I just kept rolling it until I got to this point right here. So I just rolled it, and then when I got to this point, I secured this with another glue dot to keep it open. So this was just another fun way of, it's not hidden, and they don't get to pull the tab, but it's just kind of a revealed pull tab. And this is the Make-A-Wish, and then these are the fun little, these are the other die cuts that are in the set, which are the cakes and the little flowers. And there's the inside of that one. All right, so then I decided I wanted to use the Everyday Details. Let me find it. So what I did with this one, I brought in this stamp set. And so what's hidden behind here is the nest. So I cut this piece out, had my template, and then I stamped the nest onto another piece of basic white, and then I colored all this in, so when they pull this tab off, it's going to show a nest. So this is what I'm talking about in your design when you're working with this. So when this comes off, this whole bird is going to be gone, but I made these branches go right up to the edge, so it's still going to have a like birds in the tree with a nest that shows here. Does that make sense to you guys? Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of hard to picture like what the design is going to look like, because you can't really, I guess if you kind of did it on a, and that's what I did, was I kind of laid everything out here. When I stamped that branch onto that basic white that's behind this, I went ahead and kind of laid it all out so that I knew where to place the branches. So it's going to be really fun, because when this opens, the bird will be gone, but there'll be a nest with eggs in it. So how fun is that one? And then of course I put some more, and of course this is that Flight and Airy designer series paper there. So I hope you guys aren't saying much, so I hope you guys are kind of getting what I was doing here and understanding. Okay, so then I thought I had, oh, and then the last one that I designed is, this is going to give you a sneak peek to some of the new online exclusives that are coming in March. So if you haven't seen them yet, you're going to get to see it now. So then I did, this is called the Latte Love. And so I used the designer series paper, and then it's got these really fun dies that made the little coffee pot that's pouring it in. And so again, these are all cut out pieces. So they're going to pull this tab. So when it opens, I have stamped another cup behind it that's going to attach to this stream here. Or this, like, I guess it's like this looks like it's pouring. And so that's going to still be there when you open this, or at least this much of it is. So this is, again, this is what I'm talking about, is you have to think about that when you pull this up, this whole piece is going to be gone. And so what's left behind it that's going to match what you're putting on the front. Okay, and then here's the inside. So this was just kind of a quick look at the new, this is a suite that's coming out, available March 1st to customers. So again, so does anybody have any questions on anything that I've just shown you? Again, the biggest part of this is you have to design in mind. I'm glad you watched too, Patty. Am I making sense, Patty? I hope I'm making sense, because you have to design with what's behind this in mind, because once they tear this front part off, what's left on the card is what you have hidden behind all of these little spots with what you have on the card front. But I have found that those templates help the best. So doing those templates is what's going to be the most helpful. And I'll tell you what, it caused a lot of it was kind of funny, because I was like, oh, I'm going to make these cards. And then I got them together and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't open them to see how they look, because then I ruin the card, right? So anyway, it's just kind of funny how we have to kind of design backwards in our head to think about how this card is going to look once it's done. Good. I'm glad that my directions gave you some clarity on this set. It is an absolutely fun set to do, and I'm thinking of all of the new stuff that's in the mini catalog. There's so many things in the mini catalog that you can use this set with. I mean, this set is fun because, like, these 3 cards are made with this bundle. You know, so even if you just want the Hooray for Surprises bundle, but I'm sure you can think of a ton of stamp sets that you have at home that if you've got these dies, you can do these little hidden treasures. Oh, I think I just ruined this one. I pushed on it too hard. See, that's why you have to be so careful with these. So yeah, so it's, you have so many stamp sets. I know all of you guys, you have stamp sets at home that would fit in these little things that you could design and make so much fun with these dies. And I guess they're called kind of like peekaboo dies, pull tab dies, however you guys want to call it. But it's just a really fun way to design. But you just have to kind of think a little bit backwards in your head to make sure that you get it all set up so that when these tabs pull, it actually looks the way that you want it to look. So I know this was kind of quick tonight. I do appreciate all of you that have joined me tonight. It was a quick night because I didn't want to sit and kind of design the cards for you, because I think we know how to design cards. Those of you that may be new, maybe you need a little more guidance, and that's great. You can reach out to me and I can guide you in any way that you need me to. But I really wanted to show you how to do those the most important thing is those templates. The templates that I showed at the beginning of this video is what really is the key to making these look good on the inside. And once these tabs are pulled, those are the things that really help you to get the design the way that you want it and make the cards look the way that you want it. Like I said, I had to kind of think backwards on my design a little bit, so I'm sorry, I'm going to lower those lights because they're killing my eyes. I know it made me a little dark, but anyway, so hopefully I have shown you guys how to use these die sets, and hopefully that'll be helpful to you. And I'm going to challenge all of you to, if you've got this die set, to make some cards with it. Would be careful. Yeah, so I do want to give you a tip. So the only reason that this kind of fell in like that is because I popped it up. So if you don't have, like, and I had to pop this one up because the layer behind it is high, and so it's holding it in place. If I didn't have, like this one, I wasn't even thinking. I just stamped on the back, so I shouldn't have popped this one up. Oh, sorry. Let me go back to this. So the reason that this one kind of fell in was because I didn't like build it up in the back. This one I did, and so it stayed. See, I can push on this one and it's not moving because I built up basically the layer behind this. It comes up to the top of this. So this one I shouldn't have popped up. I should have laid this flat like this one. So as long as if you lay it flat and you have your piece in there, then even pushing on it's not going to disconnect it. My thing was, I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't thinking on this one, and I forgot that I hadn't built up a layer behind it. So you do want to be, you do want to be careful with that aspect. And if you're just going to have something, like you're just going to stamp behind it, don't pop it up, lay your top piece flat so that it keeps this in place. Because you can see like this one is flat, and so it's not moving. This one, again, it's flat, so it's not popping out. It was just the coffee cup one because I forgot that I didn't build up the layer behind, if that makes sense. So yes, so I shouldn't have popped this up. I should have kept it flat, and then that wouldn't have popped out. It is kind of, it's holding it in place because of this, but this is not glued down. The one thing you also want to be cautionary about is, like me, I only glued behind this cup. I didn't put glue behind the coffee beans down here because if you were to go to pull this tab off and this is glued in place, it's going to tear the card to pull this off. But for me, it's holding it in place right now, so even though it's not glued. So anyway, guys, hopefully that helped explain this set, because when I first started working with this, I was like, I'm not understanding how this is working and how to keep those pieces in place. And then, because the first time, like I literally ran it through like this without a template. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to, sorry. I ran it through like this, and I was like, how am I supposed to know where to place anything in the back? And then it dawned on me, I need a template so that I can then design what goes on the inside, then put the top piece on. So again, it truly is fun to work with. Don't be afraid of it. It's once you get used to it, like look what happened to me. I got used to it and I just started popping out cards. But again, back to my challenge. I'm going to challenge all of you, if you have this set, or if you're thinking about getting this set, grab the set and then start making as many cards as you can with all the other stamp sets to make these really fun peekaboo cards, you know, with these pull tabs, because they're going to be really fun interactive cards that you can send to people, and they're really going to love them. So just kind of go crazy. And then I would love it if you're watching me on YouTube. I don't have a place for you to send it to me on YouTube, but my Facebook group is Julie's Creative Stamping, and I would love for you guys to send me pictures of cards that you do using this set. So I would love, love, love to see that. Anyway, guys, that is all I have for tonight. I know it was like really quick, but I really felt like you needed to know the whole basics, the templates, before you could like start going crazy with designing with this. But it's tons of fun. I know you're going to love it. And